So Terry gave me her seller quarantine checklist, and the 3 bullets that spoke to me on this checklist would be declutter for number 1, and number 2 was find storage for donations, and number 3, locate the following paperwork for your house. So I wanted to say a few things on each one of those. So decluttering a property, and I know we're in a really strange time. We don't know how long our clients are going to be quarantined, isolated, choose whether or not to stay that way, even when things are mandated in and out. So normally with a regular client, I teach my clients the methodologies of getting organized, but when it comes to specifically getting ready for market, it's all about the decision making. It's all about getting your clients to make decisions. And the 4 categories that I find are most common in this particular selling scenario would be toss, pack, donate, or stage and keep for now. So tossing would be getting rid of things, packing whatever they can possibly pack up that doesn't need to be in view. If they can imagine not being able to live with something for the next 6 months, I always encourage them to pack. Donate, we're going to talk about at length in a minute, and then stage or keep for now. So even though they're getting their home ready for market, I try to enlighten them that very shortly after it sells, they will be moving. So if I can get them to pack things as well as get rid of things, I always do that. I really encourage that. So when you're telling them, when you're going through the home or creating a list for them at the kitchen table, it's really the decisions at this point would be get rid of it, pack it and hide it, stage it or keep it for now if they're using it in daily life, and then donate. So some of the places that we could store for now would be under beds, in closets, part of the garage, the basement, the attic. If they'll clean out the cabinetry and their drawers and get rid of the things that have been there for years, then that makes room to be able to put the current life away. If there's really very, very limited space in the house and we can't store things in the house hidden neatly for the moment, they can always go with, a storage container, a storage unit, or maybe they've got friends, family, or very friendly neighbors who will let them kind of hide their clutter, if you will, for the moment. So that was a really quick nutshell on decluttering. And then the second bullet was find storage for donations. So I'm sure you already know this, but if you were to Google donations near me, charities near me, you're going to know that, Habitat for Humanity is closed, the American Red Cross is closed, the vets aren't picking up. So it's very, very difficult to donate anything from now. So just like I went over the hide and pack, if they want to hold on to them, they can hold on to them for now. But I'm finding the quickest and easiest way to get donations out of a house, if the client is willing to spend a few dollars, is to hire a green junk removal company. So I'm working with several green junk removal companies. So if we really need to get the house ready for market quickly, it's a great resource. I have a call with a client after this, and I'm going to be putting a list of green junk removal companies together that I work with. So I'm happy to send Terry that list if you guys want it. But what I mean by a green junk removal company is your traditional junk removal company, but they also take donations. Many of them do. And many of them go back to their warehouse, where the charities will come to their warehouse and pick and choose what they want. And the companies that I'm currently working with have guaranteed me that they have the room in their warehouses at the moment. So when things do open up, we're going to have those same charities, like the antique dealers, the Habitats, Goodwill, Salvation Army, all of those folks are going to be going to the warehouses of each junk removal companies to get their donations when it's safe to do so. So I would say that would probably be my number 1 tip at the moment. And then I am doing virtual organizing sessions, and a lot of times when I'm doing these on the phone and my clients are walking me through their home, whether it's on FaceTime or on Zoom, since they've lived in their home forever, they don't see the storage opportunities that I see. So I'm usually able to find a spot in their house that we can, very casually and comfortably kind of hide things at the moment. So, because I'm really good at turning over stones and just finding a spot in the house where we can really neatly hide things.
Do you have any examples of that? Like something that you found in the past that was the owner never really looked at in the same way?
So here's a recent house that I did. They weren't really utilizing the basement, and there was the finished side of the basement, but then there was the utilitarian side of the basement. And there was so much decluttering to do that as we got things out for garbage and bulk recycling, and depending on the town now, always tip your sanitation crew. I know that in some of the towns I'm working with, the bulk is opening up. So if we can get, the actual garbage out, or the things that you really wouldn't donate out, you always make room. So I was able to take that utilitarian side of the basement, and that really became the pack and hide area. If you've got any outer buildings like, sheds or even part of garages that you can use. I know depending on an attic situation, attics are a great place to hide things for now. And I know we have to take the time and energy to put them up in the attic in order to bring them out from the attic later. But if you're trying to make the room staged and decluttered and get those photograph ready, it's really, and a lot of people have room in their attic. So I tend to use a lot of closets that are, needed to be decluttered. I have a client who is on the market now, and actually it's a single family house, but it's really set up like a 2-family. So there's a shared foyer, and they never use the hallway closet. Well, that hallway closet is now stacked from the floor to the ceiling with very neatly packed labeled boxes. So every house is a little bit different, but really, look towards your furniture, look towards your closets, look towards your under the bed, any area that you think a prospective buyer won't really be looking at when they go in. And then, so the third bullet was locate the following paperwork for your house. So I'm sure you all are seeing this. The amount of paperwork that people are, some people's houses have nothing because they're all digital, or they think they're digital and they still can't find anything, or they have a lot of paper. And then there's those of us in our middle years that have a foot in both worlds. But when Terry had invited me to the office meeting last time, I had showed her something I call a project box. So this has a pretty ugly label, but it says G. Marie Selling Box. And I recommend, it's only $15 at Staples, that you go and you buy one of these for your clients that list with you, and you take these categories of papers. So Terry had written deed, title policy, survey, utility bills, and go buy a box of hanging file folders and create a hanging file folder for each one of those types of documents that you're looking for, and give it to them as a gift, so that when they find, the deed and the title, they have a safe home to put it in. But then they can add all kinds of other paperwork that's going to come up during their sale. So, for example, I actually sold my house and I'm moving. So this is my crazy box at the moment. But my first folder is called an action plan, because I do this for my clients as well. I generate a document for all of my clients, room by room, front yard through the backyard, of everything that needs to be decluttered before they put it on the market. So, and it also includes other kinds of tasks and to-dos, like, say the sconces need to be changed out, on the front porch, etc. So everything that needs to be done before your house goes on the market is on here. So that's my action plan, and that's my first folder. But,
do you have a template for that? Is that a template that you've made up, or?
No, I do it different for every house, but you'll have a lot of the same categories for every house. So, you might have, inspections, realtor, lawyer, banks, schools, medical. So, I would say set up the papers that you're most interested in having them find for you as the agent, and then show them what to do for the rest of the papers. And then what happens is they travel with this when they start going to, the lawyers and the banks, etc. They can keep it in their car. So it's very handy, but it really gives them the safe home for their paperwork, you know. So then the
Great
next thing you
idea.
know, the mortgage company calls, and the mortgage company says, I need these, you know, 20 things.
Yes.
And they're constantly copying and scanning it and faxing it all the time. But in general, papers take a long time. I just did a webinar yesterday with an interior designer and an IT expert, and we called our webinar, Is Your Home Office Driving You Crazy? Because people usually had a home office anyways, but now we're working out of our houses all the time, and our home offices are exploding. So papers really need time and decision making. For somebody to set up a lateral file cabinet or scan their papers to go paperless and throw everything on their hard drive, external hard drive or cloud, it's time. It's all about the time and the decision making. So
so that would even be a good idea for you to get for your buyers, for the stuff that they are going to be needing, you know, their bank statements, their check stubs, their W-2s. So, and I know we were discussing sellers, but even, you know, getting a little organizer like that for your buyers would be a great idea as well.
Yes. So, and a lot of people don't know what their record retention policy is. So even in today's world, a lot of homeowners, they look at a piece of paper and they say, well, I don't know how long to keep this. So, you know, I have that. If anybody wants that resource, you're welcome to that. I'm, you know, pretty strict with it. I follow the IRS guidelines. And I tell my clients, basically, if it rolls up to your taxes, you got to keep it. Everything else becomes personal choice. But I do a lot of, you know, set infrastructure of filing cabinets for my clients. So those were the 3 bullets I wanted to just touch on real quickly, give you a few pointers, and then open it up to specific questions because you all probably have questions.